and I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questions. The PRC is providing a lifeline for Russia's war effort in Ukraine, exporting an enormous amount of dual-use goods to boost Russia's defense industrial base. In April, Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell revealed that Russia's military has been, quote, reconstituted thanks to this assistance from China. Mr. Rao, in your own words, how has China's support for Russia's defense industrial base enabled Putin's ongoing war against Ukraine, and how would Putin's war effort in Ukraine be going if he didn't have this support from the PRC?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that question. Today, it's widely acknowledged that the PRC provides Russia with 70 to 90% of its computer numeric control machine tools, which are crucial for the automated production of precision-guided munitions and aircraft parts, and 90% of the microelectronics, which are critical for the production of missiles, tanks, and aircraft. I believe last April, General Cavoli, Supreme Allied Commander Europe and Commander of European Command, testified before the House Armed Services Committee that Russian military reconstitution is taking place at a much more rapid clip owing to PRC support. And I can tell you that in conversations with Biden administration officials, they see the Chinese support for the Russian war effort as absolutely essential to Russia's ability to take the number of casualties and reconstitute its armor and forces in Ukraine that it has over the past year. So it is the dramatic issue.
And how would you rate the efficacy of the Biden-Harris administration's efforts to sever this malign PRC support for Russia, and what more can and needs to be done?
I think rather than taking individual sanctions decisions against individual actors, the Biden administration might want to consider sectoral moves, including the potential threat of secondary sanctions against actors, for example, in Hong Kong, which is considered a major throughput for malign activity. So I would say that individual decisions and sanctioning decisions by the Biden administration have yet really to take on the totality of the PRC threat, and more probably should be done.
Thank you. European countries often speak about de-risking from the Chinese economy as opposed to decoupling from it. Dr. Rohach and Dr. Karaskova, what do you take de-risking to mean in the European context, and how would you grade Europe's progress on de-risking from China? Dr. Rohach first, and then Dr. Karaskova, please.
Thank you for this question. It's an important one. There is a great deal of ambiguity in the term de-risking, and the matter is made more complicated by the fact that you have 27 member states involved in this conversation where the perception of risk is very different. So as of now, there is very little in terms of a coherent European approach towards this question, even within individual countries such as Germany, where Chinese electric vehicles do represent a threat because of the subsidies and because of the explicit Chinese policies to dump excess capacity on the European market, a threat to the German industrial base. At the same time, you have important players in the German industry who are also benefiting from the economic ties to China. So these tensions do exist at the national level as well. We are nowhere near where we need to be in the United States in terms of decoupling from China, in terms of dual-use technology and critical supplies of, say, minerals and so on and so forth. I think the conversation in Europe is, if anything, lagging further behind the United States, and I think this is one of those opportunities where U.S. leadership would be really helpful in steering the conversation forward.
Thank you. Dr. Karaskova, same question.
The recently released custom data from 2018 to 2023 actually indicate that the European countries maintained or even increased their dependency on China. But I would like to stress that the de-risking strategy started only last year, so we will probably see that, hopefully, in the data coming from 2024 and onwards. But talking with the German businesses, which have a great deal and great interest in Chinese market, it seems that the de-risking strategy offers also some loopholes for those who do not wish to comply. And German companies often interpret de-risking as just relocating their production more to China and taking on boards more Chinese partners, saying we are actually de-risking from the European push for us to be less present on Chinese market. We actually become European Chinese companies, and that's their interpretation of de-risking. So I'm a little bit skeptical here.
Thank you.